by your name and I'll call you by mine.
Jimmy Cage. Jimmy Cage.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and Call Me By Your Name is the second coming-of-age film I've seen recently in my attempt to catch up with all the Oscar nominees. In comparison, Lady Bird is almost a big mainstream crowd pleaser, while Luca Guadagnino's Call Me By Your Name leans way more towards the heavy arthouse niche. It's also set in the past and shows us the life of a 17-year-old, but it's more mysterious, more lean back, it feels kind of impressionistic, and it's a very slow-moving, very intimate film that might challenge the viewer's patience quite a lot. At some press screenings you have to write down your first thoughts after the film, and what I put on paper was rather short, but I think it summarizes the movie's effect on me quite well. I wrote Bella Italia, zärtlich, romantisch und geheimnisvoll, which means tender, romantic and mysterious. Call Me By Your Name is set in northern Italy in 1983 and tells the story of Elio, played by Timothée Chalamet, who got a nomination as Best Actor in a Leading Role for his performance. Elio is spending the summer in Italy with his family. They live in this big 17th century villa, and while his father, played by Stuhlbarg, is studying Greek, Roman culture, he is transcribing and playing classical music, reading and flirting around. The movie begins with the arrival of Armie Hammer's character Oliver, an American college graduate student. From the first encounter with this tall, handsome man, the life of Elio changes step by step, and soon they are both beginning to give in to their emerging feelings towards each other. Well, soon is relative, because as I said, Call Me By Your Name is moving very slowly and it takes quite some time for our two leads to get to know each other. They are spending some minutes together, talking, smiling, then some small touches. It's all shown in a very realistic way, and the movie often features some very quick scenes that end as abruptly as they began. When you're in the mood for a slow but sensual coming-of-age story, this might be the perfect movie to fall into. It might remind you at your own summer vacations as an adolescent, and I love the way it brings that hot, leisure feeling to the big screen. That feeling of just living into the day, not really knowing what will happen. There are no big tasks, no real to-do lists, just great weather, beautiful landscapes, good food, a refreshing pool, music to listen to, friends to hang out with, and that big real first love that will turn your world on its head. It's a movie about flirting, dancing and eating, but with a very melancholic note to it. It's based on the 27 novel of the same name by André Aciman, and while that one also follows up on what happened many years later, the movie focuses on those summer days with some small exceptions. Once the relationship between Elio and Oliver starts to blossom, Call Me By Your Name really unfolds its raw, sensual energy without getting all too explicit. It might be quite challenging for some viewers because Oliver is older than Elio, and I would even say much older. I'm not sure if it was specifically mentioned in the movie, but in the book Elio is 17 and Oliver 24. At the time of shooting the movie, Timothée Chalamet was already 20 years old, but I think he looks much younger, while Armie Hammer was already 29, when I think he looks even older. So for me it was mildly strange to see this hunk of a man fooling around with that young guy who has a very boyish body with almost zero muscles. But maybe it was this initial restrained feeling of mine that made their growing friendship, respect and care for each other appear all the stronger. I really enjoyed their little games while also being there for and trying to understand one another. And going along with this notion, Call Me By Your Name has one of the most heartfelt, most moving, most human monologues I've ever seen, and it's delivered by the great Stuhlbarg towards the end. So with all this praise given, I have to say that I enjoyed the film quite a bit, but I'm also not a huge fan. I think it's a very personal thing, but while it's really beautiful to look at and it features great performances throughout, I still think it's quite overlong and there wasn't always enough for me to connect. While the feelings of that young man are addressed in a very sensible manner, there's also not much happening else. It's a deeply personal film, and while there are political and social intimations, there's also not much conflict, and I was starting to feel the movie's length. But at least there is a scene that might suggest an alternative title for the film. Italian Peach. You will know what I mean.
It's not what it looks like.
In German I'd say Call Me By Your Name ist ein feinfühliger, sensibler und auch roher Coming-of-Age-Film, der mich fast dazu gebracht hat, alles stehen und liegen zu lassen und Urlaub in Italien zu machen. I give Call Me By Your Name 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.4. but I don't do that.
You shouldn't have said anything. Just pretend you never did.
Nature has cunning ways of finding our weakest spot.
Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about Call Me By Your Name. And also let me know what was your favorite performance this year. You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell. Alright, later.